the whole idea behind this feature of the course builder, which some of you may use, some of you may not use, you can tell me later, is that we want to not only put courses out there and put content out there, but we want to evaluate whether that content is doing well. So Missy shared one perspective, which is looking at the reports. And the data is certainly very important, but we also want a more qualitative way of evaluating. And so the purpose of a course review form is to do exactly that. We want to find out how the learner felt about it, because if the learner feels that the course is doing something for them, then it probably is. So feedback is good for course creators, it's good for admins, and it can be intimidating. Okay, as an instructor myself, like I understand, it's kind of, after you've put so much into a course, it's tough to get feedback. It's tough to ask for it in the first place, much more to get feedback that, it could be improved. But what it does make your course better. It makes your design better. So the more you respond to that learner feedback, then eventually you'll have a course that satisfies exactly the objectives that you had in mind. The other thing is that while the learner is going through that course review form, it forces them to reflect on what they've learned. So I'm just going to show you what our course review form looks like and where to find it, because we think that some of you may not know that it's there. So let's go back to this course that we had started creating, the company HR policy. And let us assume that we're done, we've added everything that we needed to add here. Right over on this left panel here is the course review command. And once you click on that, you can say, I want to edit the form, because of course there's no form there. And it starts out like this with you in creator mode. There's an intro screen. There's a default text here, which you can change. And there's an outro screen. So this is what the learner would see at the end, or you can change that. So there's no questions yet. Here are the questions that you can add. The types of questions. So there are 3 types. The first type is the choice question. So for multiple choice, it means that the learner can only select one of those. For multiple select, they can check as many as they like from the options. And for yes or no, that's self-explanatory. Ranking and rating, there's the opinion scale. So this is going to ask them their opinion from 1 to 10 on a particular question. Ranking asks them to put things in order. And rating asks them to use like a 5-star scale to rate something. Input is free form text. So let's just go through one and show you what this looks like. So let me say I want to create a multiple choice question where they can only select one thing. So you might want to ask them, what was your favorite so-and-so? And you give them the choices. Or you can ask them something else pertaining to how they felt about the course, where you just want them to select from the options, one of the options that you give.
Do you have a template for this? Because for sure, those questions are quite generic and can be applied to many courses, right?
Yes. So we do not have a template. That is a very good suggestion, and I will put it to our development team.
Yes, because I think if you don't compile like feedback so often, then you would not know necessarily what to ask. But I think there are some generic questions like, did it match your expectation? Was it too long, too short, too whatever? I'm pretty sure you can come up with generic questions.
Yes. So I do have some ideas here that I wanted to share with you guys, but you're right. We could make this into a template. That's a pretty good suggestion. So some things that you want to know from your learners is, of course, was the class too easy or too hard? Was the course too easy or too hard for you? You could make that an opinion scale if you wanted to. How do you feel about the tests and quizzes, that could be a free-form question. For the free-form questions, they are allowed up to 2,000 characters. So they're really allowed to express themselves with that one. What do you like most about this class? We often overlook this question, what do you like least? We either overlook it or we're afraid of the answer to that question, but it's a really good question because, again, it forces the learner to really go back through the course from start to finish to say, is there something I didn't like about this course? And it's really useful for the course creator to know what that thing is and make it better. If they have a specific suggestion on how to make it better, you can ask that. And there might be other things that you did not cover in your questions, and the learner might want to communicate with you. And so that's a good idea to ask them that too. So I just want to show you what that looks like, especially these ranking and rating questions. So for the opinion scale, well, this is a preset text, but it's editable. It's a scale of 1 to 10, right? And for the ranking, this is an example of this could be, okay, which of these would you say would be most useful to you in your job? And then what the learner would see is, let me show you. Oh, I'm sorry. This question wasn't actually created, so.
Yeah, I think like, for example, some of the topics that are covered in the course, if there's 3, 4, 5 topics, main topics covered in the course, you could list them all here and ask that same question, which of these topics or concepts covered in the course is most helpful for you, or which one was explained the best, or, something like that.
Right. So here's the opinion scale question. But this one now, this is what the learner would see, which would be most useful to you. And they can just drag to say, okay, lesson 2, or place this in order of usefulness. That would be a more appropriate question. Could you place these in order, right? And then they would drag to say what's, most useful in answer to the question. Just 1 second here. Yeah, with regard to the settings, so for each question, you can duplicate a question, you can delete it right here, and you can hop over here into the settings to say you want the questions to appear either one at a time or all at once. You can use gamification coins for this. They would get 10 coins. And you can also send a reminder for learners to complete. This is useful because once the learner has completed the course, once you've set up a review form, when the learner completes the course, they'll see a little modal pop up to say, would you like to, we would love to hear what you think about this course, complete this review form. But they may not have the time and they may dismiss it and say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, and they never get around to it. So you can enter here that you want to send them a reminder, which will be sent by email. And you can set the number of days that you want this reminder to go out to them.
So the reminder would be sent after they complete the course if they don't fill the form, right?
That's right. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. And so you can make a question required or not required, like you might have seen that here. So like this question, the toggle is off right now, so it's not required, but you can make it required so they can't skip that question. You can also add an image. You can duplicate questions. You can get more settings to say other if one of the choices that you presented is not one of the choices that the learner wanted to select. And you can shuffle the choices so that each time when they attempt to do it, it falls in a different place on the quiz review form. And And that's basically it for the quiz review form. Maybe some of you are using some other means. Sometimes an instructor will use paper to distribute to the learners to say, we want you to check this off because, you know, we want some evaluation of what the course is like. But this comes a part of the course builder. So you can make use of that.
So I have a question on the how to collect data on the feedback form that you showed earlier. Is there an Excel file that you can download to collect all the feedback for all the courses?
So for all the courses, do you mean for each individual course, or where can you access the responses from the learner?
Yeah, responses from, like, if you have like 10 courses with like those feedback forms on each course, can you collect them in one click so that you can generate a report instead of like collecting them one by one by visiting each course?
Hmm. As far as I know, it's course by course that you want to you'd be able to access the review form. Let me just grab.
It's a good idea, though. It's a good idea
Yeah.
having a dashboard for learner feedback. Absolutely.
Learner
I mean,
feedback.
that's something
It is a good
something to
decision.
pass on.
Yeah. And hopefully not too difficult to implement. Let me just see which one. I just don't. Oh, I did create one here. So like this course, I'm just letting you know, this is what it would look like. So here where it says course feedback, it would show how many questions, this is how many questions come in the feedback form, how many completions there've been, how many people have started but not completed, and how long it took. I only put one question here. It was a test. The question was what? The answer is who, and who the learner was. But that suggestion of kind of compiling and, you know, a report that has everything so that if that's all you wanted to see, then that's a good one. We'll pass that along and let you guys know if it's implemented.